It is known that only 10% of human DNA is used to make proteins, and the remaining 90% is considered ballast material, without obvious importance. However, Russian researchers, biophysicists, biologists and geneticists, have started along with linguists, research aimed at discovering what role most of the human DNA actually plays. Thus, Grażyna Foser and Franz Bludorf managed to show that DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by using words in certain frequencies. According to them, human DNA has two major responsibilities: 1, the composition of our body, and 2, storage of information and communication path, as a kind of internet. Russian linguists have studied and compared the basic syntactic, semantic and grammatical rules used in all human languages. Thus, they found that the alkaline molecules in DNA, the whole genetic code, and especially the 90% percentage, follow the normal grammatical rules, the same ones used in all human languages. At the same time, the Russian biophysicist and biologist Pyotr Garyaev explored, together with his colleagues, the vibrational behavior of DNA, the effect of certain frequencies on it. They succeeded in modulating certain vibrational patterns on a laser beam with which they influenced DNA and genetic information. Their discovery leads to the idea of living chromosomes functioning as holographic computers using endogenously generated laser radiation within the DNA itself. The bottom line is that, as long as the structure of the DNA is the same as that of the human language, the words and sentences we use can directly influence the DNA, without the need for any decoding. Garyaev's group of researchers, using devices that allow the influence of cellular metabolism by appropriate radio and light frequencies, aimed at repairing certain genetic deficiencies, has succeeded in demonstrating that, by this method, chromosomes affected by X-rays can be repaired. They were able to capture information patterns from one DNA and pass it on to another, thus reprogramming cells for another genome. They transformed frog embryos into salamander embryos only by transmitting the appropriate information model, without any kind of side effects found in classical practices. We can say that the bases of vibrational genetics have been laid, with a clear potential in the formation of organisms compared to the biochemical processes of the alkaline sequences in DNA, 10%. The same researchers found that human DNA creates morphological patterns in vacuo, producing so-called magnetic wormholes. These are the microscopic equivalents of the famous Bridges-Einstein-Rosen, which make the connection between two very distant points, representing a kind of shortcut. Through these tunnels the information can be transmitted outside the laws of space and time. DNA functions as a multiple resonator, as a radio capable of receiving several different channels and thus capturing information from the macrocosmos, transmitting it to our consciousness, depending on the frequency emitted. Nature has been using this kind of hypercommunication for millions of years, of which the modern man is partially aware and calls it intuition. If the appropriate frequencies are used, living DNA from tissues responds promptly to radio waves and laser beams modulated by words and sentences. This phenomenon scientifically explains how different interventions that propose mental programming work, such as positive affirmations, autogenous training, hypnosis and linguistic neuroprogramming, and how they can have important effects on human well-being, health and success.